Hello, everyone. My name is Monica Gleberman, and you're listening to Silence on Set podcast. Jason, I just love you so much. I love all the work that you do.
Bless you.
I couldn't love you more, so I'm so excited to talk with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a great way to start. I'm glad. I'm glad you appreciate it. It does. It means a lot, because it's like, I've got 3 things coming out at the moment, that I work very, very hard on, 3 very different things. I'm very proud of this show. The Last Frontier, I had a great time. I loved watching it. And I really do hope people love it. There's part of me invested in it.
I was like, I'll watch one episode or really quick. I watched all of it.
I know, so did I.
So good.
Yeah, it is. It's
so good.
And he finishes each on a cliffhanger, and there's something about it. Am I going to wait for the next one? No, I'll watch it now.
And it feels so cinematic. It feels like a movie.
It is.
This could have been in theaters. It's kind of a shame it wasn't in theaters because it's so cinematic and so big and beautiful and so much drama and all the actors are so good. And
when you get those big outdoor vistas, they're glorious, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's not. You really do feel the colors and the sharpness and just the majesty, the mountains and the snow. Something insane, incredibly. It's difficult to shoot in snow, but there's something special about it. There really, and it leads to something I think intimate when you shoot it because you're having to work hard, you're having to work focused. You don't get too many takes. You just got to go and get it right.
So I wanted to ask you a 2-part question. So first part is Frank is so together and he seems to be holding the stress rather well given circumstances of family members where he doesn't know where they are and the midst of so many things. How were you able to process his mind and that he is such a marshal and is so laser focused? Then at the same time, I'm wondering what you're hoping people walk away from the show feeling, not necessarily understanding, but how they feel after they watch it.
So the first one, that's a great point because often when I'm acting, and this will be different, I will want to push it further. You know what I mean? And it takes the director, and I often rely on the director to bring it back in. And so there was Frank is this calm in the storm, even though there's so much going on inside him. And you start to see what's going on, as you said, and it enables the audience to be Frank in a way. I mean, or be with Frank, and you go, oh my God, that's on top of that, that's on top of that. And then what's this woman, Sydney? She's playing him. Don't fall for it, Frank, or keep her at a distance. That was something that I loved with the directors that and with John's script that tied me back into not just keep it simple, but keep going, dude. There's so much, it's set in a pretty close proximity of day to day, what happens day to day, over 10 days, I think. And so there's a reality that there is no time to sit down and stop because there's something to do. My son, my wife, my this, all these things going on. So, and I love that challenge. And I love being the center of the storm, even though I'm breaking down, my body's breaking down, he's getting hurt, he's not sleeping, this thing, you can feel it coming. And then on top of that is you start to realize what he's done in the past and that it's catching up to him. The second thing of what I want to take away, I love that question too, because it's something that I don't like about that question in terms of but at the same point, it's what I got as a viewer, and I don't watch my own stuff all the time very quickly. And what I got was what I'd hoped for is to press play again, to sit there and think about it, to turn to the people in the room, my son or my wife, and talk about it and hear them talk about it, hear you talk about it. That viewing and that TV is enjoyable and something you want to share. It's like a guilty pleasure of taking, this time, an hour a night, just sit at home and go, what's going to happen next? And any great show that I've watched, there's that sense of I cannot wait for the next episode to come on, whether it was The Sopranos back in the day, and different things that you go, man, I just want to see what happens next. And I think this show has got that. The other sense is that this show doesn't cheat you. I think it's rewarding. I really do. When I watched the end of episode 10, it felt beautiful to me for whatever reason. And even though I'd shot it, the snow, the lights, the color, the pace of it, the little mini movies. And 10 gave me a nice blanket of warm snow in a way, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? There was something about
it does.
About the way that it all, even though it ends with another, it had a sense of beauty to me. Strange. But that's
that's why I asked you about how it feels.
Yeah, I love that. It's one of those things. Yeah. It's you never want to cheat an audience. When I read this script that John sent me, sometimes you expect because he sent me all 10, which was unheard of. You're dreading being cheated. Oh my God, episode 7, this happens? How does that make sense? Come on. You know what I mean? And then this didn't have it. And I never want to cheat an audience. So, and I don't think this series does.
How are you?
Hi, Monica. When people get my name wrong, they always call me Monica.
Really?
Yeah. And they're
Well,
like,
I
sorry,
take
it was
that
a
as a
Monica.
huge compliment because you're gorgeous.
Oh my goodness, so are you. It's lovely to meet you. Call me
Well,
Monica. So Monica.
Monica to Monica. I want to start off with
Yeah.
you obviously play Sarah. Sarah feels to me very much like an emotional compass. She's very protective, specifically of this world, of the town of Alaska, of her husband, of her son, given stuff that she has gone through family wise.
Yes.
So at the same time, that's kind of quickly unraveling.
Okay, go for it,
So,
babe.
what drew you to play her? Because I feel like this is such an I was so excited for you because I feel like this is such a great role where you get to like show such different aspects of yourself as an actor. So, I wanted to ask you like what drew you in obviously to it and what's the most exciting part about it?
So, what drew me into playing the role of Sarah was the fact that I hadn't played a character like that for some time. From playing Lottie, in Yellow Jackets, who was a whole, bag of crazy. So, my take on Sarah perhaps was slightly different. I mean, she's on the page, but I really wanted to bring a real heart to her. I wanted to bring an authentic, honest heart to her and make her very real to look at. I didn't want her done, made up. I wanted to make her look like a nurse that you or I would meet in ER, that was a woman of that land. That was exciting. And also getting to play opposite Jason Clarke, dear friend of mine, and playing husband and wife. We were like, how's this going to work?
Like awkward or great?
It was right. And it could have gone either way, right? And it was great. There were days where we'd bicker with each other anyway because we're such good friends, correct each other when our accents fell out, which often happened. But it was just fun. It was lovely. And the whole experience was so creative and open. And it's season 1. So everyone was like, yeah, let's try it. Let's do it, And hardworking crew. I felt safe in all my choices as an actress on the show. And there was no, as you should feel as an actress, especially for young actors coming up, you don't feel that. We were all taking care of each other. And it was a great experience.
I was curious too, like, how did you balance, because there's a maternal instinct that she has, and there's a part where, she wants to go find her son Luke, and she's determined, and there's something in her gut, even though everyone else is going, she's fine, he's fine, he's fine, and she's like, no, and she's risking everything to go, and she doesn't care, like, who comes after her or what might happen. And in that process, a whole rabbit hole of stuff goes on. So how is that balancing between the maternal instinct, but also her personal survival? Because she goes through her own moment of risk for herself.
I think because as we find out later, the trauma that's happened, right? Without giving away any spoilers just yet, her fear is real. Her fear is the fact that I don't care what you or you say, something's not right. That wonderful maternal motherly instinct of going, no. Look, if you're not going to do it, I'm going to take matters into my own hands. I'd like to think we all have that in us, but she's coming from a real place. And I love that's a storyline of hers. She's like, I'm not waiting for somebody else to turn up with my son. I'm doing it, Yeah. And then she gets her ex-boyfriend and off they go in the car. And yeah. No, she's kind of got gumption. She's cool.
I know. And she's such a badass, by the way, because for that scene, which again, I don't think it's giving anything major away, for that scene, the fact that she goes with a ex-boyfriend that was a therapist in a car that's like sort of brand newish, not really like an Alaskan used truck with no weapons. And I was like, oh my gosh, but it's like when you're a mom.
You just do what you do what you got to do. I mean, even in the therapy session, she's like, do we really need to do this? And he's like, yes, we need to talk, Sarah. And she's like, okay, you want to know how I'm feeling? And she just sort of unloads. I like that about her. And I like the fact that she says it how it is.
Yeah.
So when we even see the character arc right through to the end and she taps out, that's exciting. Like, I think, and I've spoken about this earlier, the fact that a lot of relationships that we see on camera don't feel real. To me, she feels like a real woman. And I think the females in this show are. I think it's wonderfully written. And I think it's woven so intrinsically to see that these are real people dealing with real, and then there's the great cinematic explosive craziness of the inmates, and it's hilarious in parts, and it's like, it's just pure entertainment. Like,
yeah.
And
like you're watching a movie.
Yeah, and it's a big swing because I feel like there's something for everybody. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is so cool. And I want that. Good. I want people to talk about it.
Well, for probably my last question. You'll understand this. Other people will when they watch it. I was very happy when when Jason Clarke's character goes to the trunk and there's something with his name on it, and he opens it. I was very happy.
Wasn't my head?
Yes. I was having 7 like PTSD moment of that film. So I was like, please let her be okay. So I was very happy about that.
I love that moment too. And it was a 7 reference, obviously, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I panicked. But
yeah.
so
because she hits him with it. She hits Dom's character, Havelock, with that cooler.
Like cooler.
A cooler box.
Well, then I got nervous because he brings it near her. So then I went, oh no. So then I had a full out panic mode, and then
I think that's so clever. I think that's really well done. Yeah. No,
it was
so funny.
It was so good.
That's a good note.
That wasn't my final question, but I think I'm out of time now. But I had to bring it up because I had a pure heart attack moment for that. So.
Oh my God. Oh, well, thank you for watching, and thank you for being an advocate and your kind words. And I'm sorry we've been cut off already. Monica, I'm not going to forget you, Monica.
I've seen the show. I was like, I'm going to watch one episode, and I watched the entire thing.
Yes!
Yay! Yay.
What's it like?
So
we are not even allowed
good.
to. We've not been allowed to. Have you watched it?
Oh,
I haven't seen
really?
it.
No.
Okay, do you
not
want me to
seen-
tell you what happens?
Yeah, will you tell us what happens?
Who am I?
I'll tell you what happened. Oh, it's so good. Okay,
Oh,
so I'm
that's
going to jump
such a
in
good
'cause,
reaction.
like, literally, I was like, I'll watch 1 or 2. You know, I always do that before an
You
interview.
need to be filming
And I was like,
her.
oh
I know.
God. I was like, I can't stop here. So then I was like, all right, next one. Oh no.
Monica,
the
that
bus.
is
This
just
will make sense
such
to
good
you.
news.
What I just adore about the show is it's incredibly, physical, but there is also like this human thread throughout
Yes.
the whole show that is really intriguing, and who these characters, who they are to the audience, at the beginning is, their trajectory is very interesting, like who they are when they're faced when they're in these extreme conditions.
And I want to talk to you guys, like Sydney and Levi, you two kids, both survivors in their own way, right? Scarred, guarded, interesting relationship. How do you approach that tension? Because we kind of there's like an unspoken code between them, and we need both of them to make this show work. And you guys do it so well. So
Unspoken
how
code
do
is
you do
great.
that?
Unspoken code is perfect. Well, we got on for a start, but credit to the writing, and they're difficult characters. They speak a lot. They have information from their past. They're much more intelligent than either of us. Not you, sorry, me. They're multi-layered.
They were very intimidating characters.
are
I mean,
quite
I only
intimidating
can speak
characters
to
to
myself.
play.
It was
No,
an
they are.
intimidating character to play. And not in the sense of like, there's like the espionage of like Catherine Bigelow. And then this is more like a throwback to 90s kind of
90s blockbuster.
espionage
You've got big-
blockbuster.
So you're dealing with big action sequences that you love to watch, you love to be in. You also love to be in something as complex as this. And then you find out about what these... I've never, ever before read something and been surprised by the thing that I can't say that you find out on episode was? Episode...
7, 8?
Is it really that
4?
late? No, you're just saying numbers.
No, there's like definitely breadcrumbs.
There's breadcrumbs. And there's
early
cheeseburgers
on.
and breadcrumbs,
There's
whatever these
cheeseburgers
things
and
are.
breadcrumbs, like episode 4.
Something like that. But when
And-
I read it, I was like, oh my God.
You become invested in the characters in a different way than from the very start.
It's one, and you're in the safe hands of someone who deals with this stuff that we know nothing about. We pretend to because we're actors, but someone's been working on something for 10 years and knows this world inside out. So you can rely on him. I'm saying John Bodenkamp when I say him. And then you've got some of the best directors to do action, Sam Hargreaves, who is going to make it look so good because you've watched, what's this thing called?
Extraction.
You've seen the best action sequences you've ever seen. So you're in safe
Really
hands
just
with that.
inside of the action, and the action is very character driven. It's not gratuitous action.
Very good.
It is entertaining. It's visceral.
It's not action for
exciting,
action's sakes. Therefore, it's not gratuitous. It's needed to move the story along.
It's very propulsive.
And then
Can I just say, can I have the two of you in my life all day long just talking? Because I'm cracking up.
you will regret that. But you will regret that because I know that our partners do. In fact, what's the quote?
Which
Not
one?
everything you say warrants a response. That's what I've been told. No,
That's
so then
really
to answer your question though, when we met I adored Hayley because she pushed the boundaries of what's acceptable. No, of what you can do on a scene and what you can make from something that on the page is what it is. I mean, I loved saying this. I don't know whether you mind it, but honestly, one day she was going, and this is no joke, it was to do one of our flashbacks. And she went, I I think she'd be lying down on the floor now. And you could see the showrunner and the director going, ah, and you could feel them going, ah. And I went, yeah, really? And it's brilliant what she does. And it's a brilliant choice. And it's a thought about, it's not just, I want to do this for this sake. It's interesting. And we're sometimes not allowed to do stuff like this anymore. Try things out, test stuff. Credit to Apple, credit to our showrunners and directors. They let us. And you were inspiring to me when I watched that stuff. And when I've watched it back, it's absolutely
Thank
brilliant.
you.
Because they're real people. These people who
I
do
think
this.
you know, Sydney's a character that definitely like presses the boundaries a lot. So
She's a
yeah,
badass.
I was doing that on set as well.
And she's flawed. She's got big problems.
She's a badass. And then Levi's like a genius, but together they're both so flawed. They're both flawed together
Yes.
individually, and it drives the plot so much, and it feels like a movie. And I'm like, I'm so invested in everything that the two of them are
Monica,
doing.
one thing, spin-off
Yes.
series. Keep mentioning it. Spin-off. The Havelock Sydney years. What?
Imagine how fun would that be?
But it's good, right? They've got something already. They've got something to play with. They've got something. What do you think?
Yeah, I would watch it. I
The
would love it.
haves and the Havelocks.
I know you're not new to world building, but I wanted to ask you, you know, in this particular world, there's a survival story, a redemption arc. It's a psychological thriller. There's drama and excitement and high tension and stakes every single episode. How did you do this?
Sometimes I worry there's too many ingredients on the pizza, you know, that it's like simpler is better. You know, it's a little bit of a balancing act, you know, it's sort of sold as an action show, which it is. It's an action thriller, but at the same time, it's kind of an espionage story. And at the end of the day, I think the characters are all I or you or anybody is going to care about is sort of who these people are. And so, you know, to me, it's sort of about checkerboarding these stories, having a fun sort of character at the center of each episode that we're maybe spotlighting. I kind of hope that each episode feels like its own movie, you know? And so with each inmate, we get a window into a different sort of character and their subculture. And under all of that are these characters that I hope really at the end of the day resonate.
Was there one particular story that you enjoyed telling from all these characters? Because obviously I related to, you know, the police force and watching them kind of go, oh my gosh, we're in the middle of Alaska.
Right.
We've never really had to deal with this before. We're marshals and just like stepping forward and having to, you know, deal with this chaos that was literally dropped on them. No
Yeah.
pun intended.
Literally.
But was there one of the inmates that like stories resonated with you that was easier to write? Was it the marshals stepping in? Like, where were you at with that?
You know, I got to be careful because it's not really a case of the week show, you know, but
Right.
we do sort of spotlight certain individuals and inmates as we go through. I did find that, I think that's what keeps this show fresh is that, you know, one week you're like in this weird standoff situation with Johnny Knoxville, who is playing this, you know, this crazy inmate. In another, we're with Damian Young, who is plays a doctor who has been poisoning and murdering his patients. And so that eclectic aspect of the show, I really enjoy. And I think that keeps it fresh. So we don't get just bogged down in just pure serialized procedure, you know? And it's sort of, I like that shifting of those gears, but I can't really say, they're kind of like kids, you know? I can't really say there's
They're all my
one favorite, you know?
Because you brought up Johnny Knoxville, I just have to
Yeah.
say I was laughing so hard because he's so good, and it was such a shock to me to see him.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, is that Johnny Knoxville? And he was so good at it, and you know that he's scary when he just has a teeny tiny little like can knife, like
Yeah.
pocket knife that he was holding. People that he comes across were so scared.
He's so good at that. Intimidation is so weird, you know, from him, but he was in it. And I got a couple emails from him as we started to shoot, and he was friends with one of the other actors that he knew. And this other actor had a lot of really weird and sort of unusual takes on the character. The more he was emailing me, the stranger they were getting. And I was about ready to confront the other actor when I realized he had been completely screwing with me for like 2 weeks. And I was like, oh my God, it's Johnny Knoxville. Of course, he's like, you know, I felt honored, you know? So yeah, we had a great time. My hope is just that people understand it's a fun show. We're just trying to have a lot of fun and have a way to escape from the world for a little bit.
I love that you guys chose basically the final frontier of Alaska, and
Yeah.
that it's snowy and there's just all these different conditions. And like you said, it's not a week to week thing. It doesn't come across that way. But what's nice is that it's not just random inmates, that
Yes.
there are some in the beginning, but that we do get to follow and learn a little bit
Yes.
about each one and how some of them cross our main characters and
That's right.
you know, kind of rooting for.
That's
So
right. At the end of the day, it hopefully, all of this, it's not as random as it all seems. Things are connected, storylines, characters that we might not anticipate are connected. And so they all do tie together. And I think I love that the atmosphere is something that resonates with you because it is different and it's dangerous and it's barren and it sort of informs Frank and who he is, this guy who is in this very small community and suddenly saddled with this impossible task. He's a guy who, takes very seriously his job and his obligation to keep everyone safe. And this is by far the biggest test he's ever had of that.
Well, I want to talk to you actually. It's like perfect segue into, the show deals with a lot of ideas about dealing with the past, mistakes that might have been made, and then also Frank's integrity, because that gets kind of pulled into question on whether or not he's going to make certain decisions for personal gain because of what's going on with his family. And he's very straight arrowed and he's very, and I feel like that was such a smart decision because on other shows, I feel like, they always do the gray decision. They always try to save their family member or do this or that. So can you talk to me about the building of him, why it was so important to kind of keep his morality and like his ethics in that direction?
Yeah.
And I know you kind of mentioned it earlier, but I'll just do a two-part. And then also what you're most excited about for fans to feel. Not necessarily what they're like, will learn from the show, but what they feel when the show is over.
Well, on Frank, I think that character is very informed by the place. And one of the things I learned in talking to some of our consultants and the people who live in Alaska is that because this is a sparse place, right? Because there's not a lot of people, because it's very dangerous, because there's elements that you're confronting daily. It is a place where the community matters in a very specific way, because you inevitably are going to need the help from somebody who you're going to cross paths, or they'll need your help from you. And, it's a place where you can't really buy your way out of a problem. You can't just open the phone in a lot of places. So that sense of community becomes really foundational to who Frank is and informs everything about him, And so when he's confronted with Sydney then, and this catastrophe that's unfolding in his backyard, Sydney is a trained spy. She's trained to keep secrets close. She's trained to not open up. And I think that's a nice sort of juxtaposition of those two. But he is very much informed by where he's from. And I think that, one of the central questions is, what does this do to him, right? Like, does he keep his head above water? Can he hold on to what he believes is right? Or does the whole thing swallow him up and change him, by the end? That's sort of the take on Frank. In terms of what people feel, again, this is probably silly for me to say, but I genuinely feel the world has enough problems. You open a newspaper, you can come up with a dozen things you don't want to think about. And I hope this show does what TV does best, which is give people a place to escape and forget about their problems for a while. Like, I want people to go into this, go on a roller coaster ride and just have fun. That really is, it's as simple as that for me.
Thank you for listening to Silence on Set podcast. My name is Monica Gleberman. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more interviews to come.